Welcome patrons! A long time ago someone chastised me saying, how could I talk about Dragon Age but not have a video on dragons? Well, fine, you called me out, so let's talk about dragons. To begin, I don't know much about the real-world mythology of dragons, so this is all about how dragons work in the world of Thedas. If this is not how you would define dragons, take it up with BioWare. Life cycle. Dragonlings. When a baby dragon hatches from their egg, they are called dragonlings. They are described as being about the size of a deer, wingless, and are voraciously hungry. After hatching, they live in their mother's lair, which I'll get to in a bit, and venture out soon after. They are apparently born in large amounts, but few actually make it to adulthood. Here, the dragons differ in their growth depending on their sex. Drakes. Male dragons never actually grow wings, and at most they might have spurs in their legs that might have been wings had their sex been different. Once they are fully grown, drakes find females to live with. Dozens of males are able to live with one female and are tasked to fetch food and protect the young. The males often compete with each other for the right to mate with the dragon. The typical drake lives for about a century before dying of old age, although most die protecting the nest. But despite being much smaller than females, they still are dangerous and are described as being able to breathe fire like their female counterparts. Dragons. Females take a lot longer to develop than males. It's described that they lose the use of their forepaws, darken in color, and they grow a third set of limbs that become their wings. In their youth, dragons will fly great distances looking for unclaimed nesting grounds, and this is usually where people spot the dragon. High dragons. This is the name for a fully adult female dragon. They are considered to be the rarest type of dragon as it takes centuries for one to mature to this state. Many also believe high dragons to be fairly cunning and are even described to have personalities like your pet dog. At this point, they have found a suitable nesting ground and have hollowed out a space for a nest where they lay hundreds of eggs and live with many mature drakes. They spend most of their time sleeping and mating and eating whatever the drakes bring back. But once every 100 years, the high dragon will prepare to lay more eggs by going off in search for more food, or as seen by people, dragon attacks where they eat everything in sight. Great dragons. This is something that has appeared only in the comics, specifically the comic The Silent Grove. We're not really sure how they are different, but they're described as being more powerful than a high dragon, and that drinking their blood gives one the powers of a god and is useful in controlling the Fade. There are rumored to be two great dragons, one that awoke when King Merrick awoke it, and then another that still sleeps, waiting for the blood of Calenhad Theron to awaken it. Now, I may have lost a lot of you there, and honestly this is another video topic, but the TLDR is that there is something special about the Theron bloodline and dragons. We aren't completely sure what it is, how it works, or really anything other than it exists. The great dragon that Merrick apparently awoke is really only mentioned in passing rather than explained in details. For now, we don't know what the great dragons are up to, if anything at all. Drake's Fall. If you have played the Awakening DLC or Witch Hunt, then you went to a place filled with bones. This is Drake's Fall. The legends describe this as a place where dragons go to die naturally, letting the cold weather freeze her to death, and as you can see, the area is covered in bones of dragons. Eventually, Tevinter found the place, and that is where the ruins in the area are from, ruins of magisters who wish to possess the power of dragons by being a part of them. It's unknown if this is honestly a place where dragons do go to die, but if so, it begs the question, why? Dragon biology. The bones of dragons are described as being very hard, needing diamonds to cut them and possessing some sort of heat to them that can actually burn the flesh. Apparently, the liquid from dragon eggs can act like a bomb against heat as well. Dragon's blood is said to be spicy and useful in runecrafting, although only once taken from dragons while it's still alive. Somehow when the dragon is dead, the blood loses its potency. Drinking the blood of the dragons is what a reaver does, and Cassandra mentions rumors of people from her family actually growing scales from drinking it too long. From Dragon Age Inquisition, a description of what drinking dragon's blood is like. It did not taste like blood as the uninitiated understand it, for they only know the taste of the wound, a flavor of defeat. This was the taste of blood coursing within, of life, of the primal, a burning that is not swallowed so much as it inhabits. To infuse with the blood and life of such a beast is to be changed at the core. Some could see it and knew I was more than I had been. Some could not and had no warning. And some knew but would not say, for the choice of how to wield it is truly mine. The act of becoming is a defiance of all expectation. I am above. I see where the blade must go. I see through you. Now, if you have killed all the high dragons in Dragon Age Inquisition, you get a war table mission that describes that dragons have the ability to form cysts around the blight in their body, preventing being tainted. This is unlike any other animal or person in Thetis, and it's unknown how the high dragons have this resistance, or how this knowledge could help prevent the blight in the future. Extinction. Now, obviously, dragons and cities don't get along too well. Navarra, specifically the Penagos family, eventually made it a national pastime to hunt the beasts, and in the early Steel Age they were called to be extinct because no one could find any more dragons. This would be thought of as true until the late Blessed Age, when dragons re-emerged again. We would later find that dragons were indeed on the verge of extinction, but that Yavanna, another daughter of Flemeth, took in and nurtured many dragons to bring them back in force. We know that Yavanna finds dragons to be very important, even calling them blood of the world, but at this time, we're not sure what this means or why. Worship of dragons. The worship of dragons in Thetis is described to be something that is not unique or tied with the old gods of Tevinter, as seen with the cult in Haven, from a codex entry on dragon cults. Members of a dragon cult live in the same lair as a high dragon, nurturing and protecting its defenseless young. In exchange, the high dragon seems to permit those cultists to kill a small number of those young in order to feast on draconic blood. That blood is said to have a number of strange long-term effects, including bestowing greater strength and endurance as well as an increased desire to kill, and may breed insanity as well. Navarran dragon hunters have said these cultists are incredibly powerful opponents. The changes in the cultists are a form of blood magic, surely, but how did the symbiotic relationship between the cult and the high dragon form in the first place? How did the cultists know to drink the dragon's blood? How did the high dragon convince them to care for its young or know that they would? Is there more to draconic intelligence than we have heretofore guessed at? No member of a dragon cult has ever been taken alive, and what accounts exist from the days of the Navarran hunters record only mad rants and impossible tales of godhood. So, if anything, you should be getting the sense that there is something more to dragons than we currently know, and I have a feeling it may come into play later down the line in the series. And that, dear patrons, is all that we know of dragons. I know that most of you are leaving with more questions than answers, but I'm afraid that this is all you really have at the moment. Also, if you're wondering why I'm being so quiet, I've decided to make bad life choices, and I'm currently recording at 5:22 a.m. So hey, that's cool, right? Do you still have lingering questions, proof that I'm wrong, comments about your own fan theory? Feel free to tweet me at @Gilderthon on Twitter or send a PM to user Gillanon on Reddit. Daresh Shiral.